Blessed my family, do you have your copy of the true biblical land of Israel? No? Well, visit our website priestisaacinstitute.com and order your copy today. The True Biblical Land of Israel, originally a theological paper, proves to the reader that the land of Israel, according to the biblical geographic description, is Africa plus Arabia. Most definitely a must-read for all. And while you are at it, our other books, namely The Heavens Declare the Glory, Rastafari and the Cosmos, as well as Anu, Ancient and Modern Revisited, are definitely of interest to all. Each book goes for only $20, but when you order the three together, you get them for only $50. So visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us today, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. Blessed reading. Give thanks. And what it's all about, so I'm sure sooner or later you still get your copy. But it's Haile Selassie Mason is a video lecture that we did, and within the video lecture, I mean, it's in depth, and our video lectures do not come on YouTube. As another thing, people have problems with that too, you know. Oh, this is nothing to hide. This is really, I don't want to go into that. Let me not go there. I will address that some other time if it's necessary. Good. Now, I'm just saying that it would have been good if you had seen that for those who are really serious, man, because what I'm going to touch now, you know, it may even create weird comments, but for those who are serious about the study and really believe the word of God thing that you're talking, you should have already contacted me through the email, and you should have already ordered and received your copy of His Haile Selassie Mason. I ain't got no apologies for saying that. All right, Sister Hustle? Yeah, straight up, you should have. That's the reality of it. Because what I'm going to go into now, by right, this belongs to the class that has already studied that. It needs to be studied. It's nothing you can find nowhere else. It is nothing that you can find anywhere else. So it's precious information. So contact me, man, and get a copy of His Haile Selassie Mason if you're really serious about the knowledge. This is not the, entertainment business. This is the educational vibration with a little inspiration too. Now I'm going to be showing you this video, and we're going to follow along with what is taking place. Now, first of all, so here is Haile Selassie coming into the Vatican here, and you'll notice he has this entourage with him, but these are really the individuals from the Vatican itself. Now, if you watch good, this individual here that I refer to as the deceiver, I will show you why. If you notice now, the deceiver, deceiving the emperor now, he's telling the emperor, let us go down this passage. Now, it's obvious that they were going straight, like, like coming towards us here who are watching on the screen. It's obvious. So the deceiver now, he's saying, let's go down this way. So the emperor turns with him, and you'll notice that what the other individual that is to the left of the emperor, he is actually stretching out his hand as if to grab the emperor. Watch this. As if to hold the emperor to tell him, no, don't go that way. In fact, you could see when he drops his hand, it's as if he's saying, come, come, don't go that way. Now, this is serious. He stands up, and as the other cardinals or whatever they are come in, they themselves look slightly bewildered, like, why are they going down that way? I would believe that's the question that they're asking. Then you see the deceiver come back out, trying to usher all of them to go down this way. All right, and now the fella that was to the left of the emperor, he obviously has a problem with this because he's going to the deceiver now. Like, I mean, come on, what you doing? All right. And then there comes another individual from let's just say our direction, the direction that they were going to first. Here comes another individual calling them, say, no, 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 come back this way. And then they return. Now, what's going on here? Remember, now this deceiver, as I call him, he is very key. Because there's going to be a part in the video where when Emperor Haile Selassie meets Pope Paul VI and they shake and they make their comments, they're going to go into a room. People are in the room, everyone will go into the room, but the Emperor and the Pope goes through a specific door. The room has several doors, but they go through a door and nobody else goes through the door except the deceiver. So all these fellas you see walking with the emperor coming in, none of them go through the door. Only the deceiver and the emperor and the pope. Then they lock the door and everybody else find the next door to get in. So it's obvious that the deceiver has some level of ranks. So you have him here telling the emperor, let's go down this way. It's obvious that everyone was coming straight. It's as if he just had an idea, like, okay, let's go this way. All right, brother, is your place, let me see. And then, but what is very key is that the other cardinal or assistant, whatever, he stretched out his hand as if to hold the emperor to tell him, no, come back, come back. Watch that. And then when the other fellas come in, they're like, what's going on? What's happening? And the deceiver come and say, come, let's go this way. And he go to the deceiver like, no, you know this is not right, Leroy. Well, I'm just pulling the name out the bag. And what is key now? Someone from our direction comes and say, hey, no, let us go this way. You see it? And if you watch, when they're coming through the doorway, I think there's some level of fright that has troubled him. I don't know what was happening there, but something don't look right. Yeah? This is not a movie, man. But when they're coming through the door, you will notice the deceiver squeeze his way through. He squeezes his way through the door. I mean, he could have at least, stood up for 1 second and let the emperor pass through and then walk in behind. But I don't know, he just squeezed himself through the door. And when the emperor meets Paul VI, the Pope, they shake their hands and they go into this room and the deceiver follows and the door will be locked. And if you look through here, you see something that looks like a one eye inside of the room. All right. So the meeting is going to begin. And look at these these two Ethiopians now, they are part of the Ethiopian crew. They're right there in the room. And look at this, cardinal, if that's what he is. He comes and he's asking them to dress back. But look in the manner, as if to, come on, dress back, fellas. Look at that. Have to touch up their chest and feel them up. And look at that, and then he puts his hands on his hip. Yeah, welcome to the Vatican, brother. Yes, anyway. So, antics now. You know what antics? You know what's antics? All right.
Ampex via dal Vaticano. Ampex via dal Vaticano.
Now, the emperor is going to speak here, and we're just going to take in a bit of, the holy voice of the black I am.
በምንመጣበትም ዋናው ምክንያት በብፁዕነቱና በፊትም ከአባቶቹ ጋር ባሉት ሁሉ የካቶሊክና የኦርቶዶክስ ስም ልዩም ቢሆን በማናቸውም ቢሆን የእግዚአብሔር መንግስት የሚያዝበት እግዚአብሔር ነው እንጂ የሰዎች መለያየት።
Okay, so we're just going to make some observations quickly, a few things. Let me just give you an idea of what happens, because we don't have to go through everything. You could go and watch the video yourself. The emperor is speaking in Amharic to the Pope, and afterwards the emperor's translator, which is Haile Manasseh, Haile Selassie's interpreter named Haile Manasseh. He's the one that tell you what the Manasseh. He telling you what the Manasseh, Haile Manasseh, very important, very mystic. This is why it's the mystic vibration. So Haile Manasseh, will explain to Pope Paul what the Manasseh. And then after Pope Paul gets that, Pope Paul VI, by the way, not John Paul, he's going to speak to the emperor in French. And the emperor knows French, so no one needs to interpret it. Now, before we go to the depths, there are a few things now I want to highlight. This fellow that's standing behind the Pope, now throughout the video, he's in this position. Now, he has a bow tie on his neck, but from the angle, it gives this impression as if the Pope himself has a bow tie on his head. That's how it looks. Now, I'm not mocking His Holiness, man. Yeah, and trust me, that I was very sarcastic in that expression there, but not mocking him. But because we're dealing with Freemasonry, oh yeah, that's what's going on here. Because we are dealing with Freemasonry, I think that it is key to highlight that, because it's angles we're dealing with. Yes, family, blessed love, give thanks for your presence with us. Give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie I. And of course, you're in the tiger's nest, Honorable Priest Isaac, here with you. Yes, it is all about Negus and Agas. It is all about the King of Kings. It's all about Haile Selassie I. Just, of course, in this Chalice Talk meditation, taking a little meditation before we come into the fullness of what we want to deal with right now. Now, this is a video that we did like about 3 to 4 years ago. Haile Selassie battles Pope Paul VI. Art of Celestial War, Rastafari, is a wonderful sit down. It definitely shows you without a doubt that this is a celestial battle here. But I'm not going to run any more of this. I'm going to get into the reason this evening. I wonder if I should give you a little more of this here. I wanted to show you clearly, more about who the King of Kings is. In fact, there's a bit of the humor that the king himself carry. I want to express a bit of that too, We love Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie, with all comprehension, is the Almighty in flesh, I know everyone can't really fathom that or even swallow it, but this is not the time to force that down nobody's throat. We're just going to have a good time this evening. I'm going to give you a bit more of this video here, of course, specifically just for those who may not have ever seen this. And I know some of you have watched this already, and it's like a little refreshment to you. You could see, obviously, as I said earlier, this ain't no movie. This ain't no like action, let's go and action scene 1, scene 2. This is reality. The whole crew coming in the room, the Vatican, and the headman telling them, let's go down this road. He tell the emperor, let's go down. And when you watch the video again, I didn't mention it here, but you could see even the emperor himself kind of like, hesitate. I think I mentioned it sometime down in the video. Yeah, maybe I did. But anyway, even the emperor kind of stood up a little bit and like, go down there. And he said, yeah, come. And then I said, all right, well, it's your place. And remember, the first thing the emperor said when he spoke to this fella here, the Pope, is that he showed them, yo, this is not the first time I've been to the Vatican. I'm just saying that he could have been implying, hey, tell your fellas and them another place where he was carrying me. Because when he carried the emperor down the road, and even the fellas that coming after him, who know the place and know where they're going, you see, they stood up, they stood up and started to watch one another, The deceiver was on the emperor's right, and this other fella on the emperor's left. The other fella stretched out his hand when the deceiver said, let's go left, let's go right. And the emperor. So everything shows that this is not according to plan. The deceiver coming through, even he himself, the deceiver, looked down the hallway first and then, hey, I have an idea. I don't think he said all of it. Let's go this way. The emperor was actually going straight. He looked down, it's all right, and turned. The fella to the emperor's left stretch out his hand like to grab the emperor's shoulder and tell him come back. Then the other fellas that came in behind, these shifty looking people here, started to look at one another like, where you going? Then he, the deceiver, come back for them and say, come, let's go. Now tell me. Wow. And then this other fella come now telling them, no, y'all going the wrong way, which everybody know. And then the deceiver come back around, following behind the emperor. Couldn't even let the emperor pass through the door properly. You have to squeeze through as if he guilty. I don't know what that was, but that was clear as crystal. No, that wasn't an edited video. That was just a live raw footage taking place here, RAI television in Italy. Let me give you a little bit more of this before we actually get into the real meat of the discussion. The rose and the cross, the red cross, okay. The Rashicrucian. Yeah. I mean, it's all one thing anyways. And when I say red cross, I mean the red cross too, Oh, not just the color of the cross. I mean the red cross. Okay, I hope you follow me. So it's all Freemasonic. You comprehend. So light and angles, they deal with that a lot. 3. Sitting with his hand on his sword. The emperor has his sword, by the way. You don't bring weapons into the Vatican, but the king coming with his sword. St. George slewing the dragon. And the emperor's hand is on his sword with his hands interlocked as well. Now the emperor's signature is that trinity that he holds. Some people call it the Star of David, Some people say that as well as this Freemasonic hand sign. All right, but we know the emperor is well famous for that, for putting up his trinity, for putting up the Star of David signal with his hands. Now, he's not doing it at the moment here, but he's going to do it in a moment now. Now, watch it good. When the emperor puts the hand sign up, the very same moment that he does that, the exact moment that the emperor puts his hand sign up, the Trinity, the very same moment, you're going to see the Pope release his hands from the interlocked position. And he's going to do it slowly, you know, as if, I mean, he got to move smooth. As if somebody shot him. And he's just going to, you're going to see him shaking his hand and trying to hold on to the side of the chair, but he's not looking off because he's looking at the interpreter. The very moment. Now the interpreter is going to say, we're thankful for your cordial reception. Your cordial reception. So you got to listen for that. And when he says cordial reception, as soon as he says reception, the emperor is going to pull up the sign and the Pope is going to get the reception as soon as he does it. And when he does that, you're going to see the Pope release his hands at the same exact time. Remember, they're sitting like that for a while now, you know. So listen. Okay. Cordial reception. Let's see it again. Watch the king's hand. Watch the Pope hand movement. One more time. And you could see him trying to grab the side of the chair. Yeah. So that's a battle going on there. You don't understand. If you understood who these two beings were, not just in flesh, but in the ether, in the different dimensions, you would see the dragon and the lion going at it, man. Claws in the face and fire breathing and all of that. So now, watch this good. Here we have now the Pope himself. He is reading now his speech. He read his speech now. The emperor gave his speech, but the Pope now he's reading his speech. Now there's another area in this part now where the emperor now, as you can see, the emperor, as I said before, the emperor has his sword. And he's holding on to his sword now. You know, this is in the Vatican, you know. Now, if you notice, there's going to be a time where the emperor now looks down. He's going to literally hold his glove. His gloves are off, and he's holding his glove to the sword. And he's going to give the glove like a little tug, just a little tug, you know. And then he looks back up while the Pope is reading. Now, that's the first tug he gives the glove. Now, he's going to come back to the glove again. And he's going to pull the glove slightly, and when he pulls the glove, the sword is going to jump. The sword is just going to jump like a little tip, you know. Now you got to listen to this. When the sword jumps, you're going to hear the Pope say, ah. I'm not lying. As if somebody stick him in the side with a sword. Ah. And just to prove that it's he says, he's actually going to say Addis Ababa. And when he's reading, he's going to say, Addis Ababa. You know, like, he's supposed to say Addis Ababa. But when he says, Addis Ababa, he doesn't say all the but I'm just trying to show you. Remember, this is diplomacy. You got to be cool here. This is black magic going on here, man. The emperor pulled the sword and the sword jumped in the same way when he put up the hand signal, and you could see the frequency as if it's a laser fly across the room and hit big man in his face, and he had to just release his hand. It's the same way when the sword jumped now. He reading Addis Ababa. Yeah, check it out.
Son successeur était réservé la satisfaction d'accueillir un représentant permanent de votre pays auprès du Saint-Siège. Lui-même voulut se faire représenter à Addis Abeba, puis en 11 que Lors de la Constitution, on
So the emperor pulls the glove first time.
par les accords de la
He's going to pull it again.
Cette communauté
When you pull it again, watch the sword and listen to the pull.
est digne de votre patrie. Le collège éthiopien d'aujourd'hui.
The pull coming now.
Son successeur était réservé la satisfaction
Right now.
d'accueillir un représentant permanent de votre pays au
Right here.
présidentiel.
The sword.
voulu se faire représenter à Addis Ababa.
Addis Ababa. Watch again. Watch the sword. Good.
Venant de votre pays auprès du Saint-Siège. Lui-même voulu se faire représenter à Addis Ababa.
Yeah, man. One more time. Watch the sword, how it jump. Watch it.
Yes, family, give thanks. Listen, man, you can definitely, it's right there on my YouTube, the same channel you're watching here. And the name of the video, Haile Selassie Battles Pope Paul, VI, which is the 6th Art of Celestial War, Rastafari. And I think you could obviously see that is what's taking place there. And of course, you know, this is something really of a serious, very serious nature. I'm going to show you something now, definitely of a serious nature, but just with a touch of humor to it. And of course, let me just remind you while we're at it, remember that today is the last day. We're working with the concept of midnight. Now you have until midnight to get your $35 ticket for the natural childbirth workshop that will be taking place on the 9th of May. Now, of course, the workshop itself specifically is only $50. And that will be on the 9th of May, as I said, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Caribbean Time, definitely hosted by Redemption Healing. But as you would know, that there is a special offer that will be coming to a close that will be at midnight tonight. So you could definitely get your spot for only $35. Remember, it's going to be a 2-hour workshop. We definitely have been getting some wonderful, if you want to say, programs leading up to this workshop. Even previous evening, we had a wonderful program premiered, the Honorable Empress Naya, who will be facilitating the workshop, our certified professional wellness doula. And she definitely went into the whole aspect of the unnatural childbirth as such, and previously, prior to that, she gave a program very much on the whole spiritual aspect. But you can see it right here, the different levels that will be covered. It will be a question and answer program. You will be given a certificate of completion when it's done. We'll be covering preconception 101, prenatal support for natural pregnancy, natural birthing and spiritual techniques, natural postpartum healing, at-home birthing space, and of course, once again, live question and answer. So definitely it's going to be a wonderful session. When I say we will be covering, I'm talking about the Honorable Empress Naya specifically, who is the professional in the field. And of course, the PayPal sign is here. Of course, you can make your payments using the PayPal. You can make your payments using the CashApp. The information is in the description below this video. Just scroll down. You'll see the PayPal, you see the CashApp, or you could definitely email us for more information, for better clarity. PreCISACinstitute@gmail.com. PreCISACinstitute@gmail.com. And there's a special offer. There's a 1-month free virtual doula support. And that, as the Empress explained, is really constant consultation, within the time of your pregnancy or even preconception stage, as you see here, and even the afterbirth stage. So all these stages are covered. As you could see, you have the wellness aspect, the psychological aspect, the spiritual aspect, the physical aspect, emotional aspect. This is some deep, deep stuff. And the more that I get into it, because as I said clearly, I was very void with the understanding of even what a doula really, really is. And now getting more and more into it is a very vast, craft, really. And especially the level that the Empress is bringing it on as Rastafari on a natural level. So definitely looking forward to your present. Remember, this is not a lecture. It's not just a presentation. It's a workshop. In fact, I think after the workshop will also be available on video too. I hope I'm not saying it wrong. Well, I know it's going to be available on video for sale for those who will not be there. But for those who will be there, I cannot say. But whatever the case is, family, the importance vibration here is to understand it's an interactive workshop, and you will be given your certificate after you are done. And remember, you're getting it from a certified institution as such, as far as the Empress herself certified within the field. And of course, she even showed you her qualifications, that previous program that we did. So if I was you, I would definitely get that early bird ticket, as they call it, and that will seal up tonight at 12 midnight. And of course, that is only for $35. So that means you'll get $15 off of this very, very important opportunity here. All right, definitely giving thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Now, of course, you would know that in 1963, the Emperor of Ethiopia would have visited the United States of America. This would have been the second visit, I think, because I know he visited in 1954, if I am not mistaken. So this would have been the second visit, I would believe, yes. And this is when he, met John F. Kennedy, of which I want to get into that. But before we go into the meeting of John F. Kennedy, I just want to kind of highlight what I consider a bit of the humor of the king. Now, there are several videos of Emperor Haile Selassie first. The other evening, I was with the Honorable Prophet Jah Daniel, and I'm sure any one of you who saw that interview that I did with Honorable Prophet Jah Daniel, that's of course an African Liberation Network. You should definitely check it out. Especially if you're an individual within this order and searching for certain different levels of understanding the Honorable Prophet, African Liberation Network. African Liberation Network is a channel that definitely solely dedicated to the growth of Bobo Shanti, the reasoning of Bobo Shanti, choir practice, and many different aspects thereof. So you would have heard me speak of like all the different videos we would have watched so-called back in the days. Even this, when you get this on, well, I must say the first time I came across Meet the Press, it wasn't in the early days. No, I think the first time I came across this, it was on a DVD. So that would have been a little deeper in the game, sometime in the 2000s. But yet still, we would have gone through these videos, DVDs over and over and over again. So this specific one, this is really at the end of the interview. He was interviewed, Meet the Press, of course, a popular television program that is still there up to now. And he was just asked a question by Miss Frederick. Now, it's not about the question now. I've done programs where I've addressed the questions that they asked. In fact, we need to go into some of these interviews more deeper. But anyway, for now, it's not about the question. It's not even about the answer. It's about how the emperor sealed up the interview with Meet the Press. Now, this is a half an hour program as such, with, I believe, breaks at the beginning and the end, whatever the case is, advertisements and sponsors. So anyone that's watching can see. Remember, this is the last question. everyone asked their question, and she has asked her second question. Most of them seem to get 2 questions. And so that was the question. And the answer, I wouldn't say a little bit lengthy, but I think it went over a minute. And while the interpreter was giving the answers, he might talking about, while he's reading the answer now, because the emperor speaking Amharic, and then Haile Manasseh tell you what the manna say, tell you what Haile the manna say. Okay. So while he's reading, you could see the host looking down on his notes, looking at Haile Manasseh, looking at the king, and looking at the clock. He just keeps doing it. You could see, anyone that's watching, you see, you could obviously see that time is on them. Now, this is Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie, I mean, you don't get no more brilliant than Haile Selassie. So I'm just showing you, and you will see that even the emperor, it is obvious the emperor would have to know that the time is coming for the program to come to an end, to the point that they are actually on the clock now. They're up against the clock, as they would say in the radio world and television world. I'm up against a hard break, I'm up against the clock, etc. Hey, when Haile Manasseh finished what he done read, the emperor attempt to talk again. When the emperor talked, Haile Manasseh put his hand on the emperor hand like this. No time up, king. Of course the king no time. If you that reading with your head down, know that time up. You don't take the emperor no time up. And then the man that doing the interview say, what is it? I think it's a sorry, Your Majesty, something or the other. Thank you very much, Your Majesty. Thank you very much, Your Majesty. The king tried to talk, and I would give thanks, Honorable Princess. And then now, just observe how the king moved. The king, like he looked down and look up and look across on everybody. A very humorous way. Now, I mean, come on. This is Haile Selassie. You don't think the king know that the program done. Now, throughout the program, there was once when the king gave an answer and Haile Manasseh read it, and the king added to it. I think it was the question that had to do with education. And the king added to it and put a next little piece on it. But the other questions, so it's like about 8 or so, 7 or so questions. The other questions, the king just give one answer. Haile Manasseh read the answer, and they move on. Next question. But for this question now, when the program done, and it's obvious, you could see the host jittering and the king sitting, the king know what's going on. The king know how long the program is. Wait a minute, the king must say, man. The king see he get the last question. You know, think the king know all of this. You see the man flitter. The clock, whatever the man can see, the king can see it too. When Haile Manasseh finish and the man ready to shut down the program, the emperor start to add to the question now. I don't know why, boy. Either to test them or just to keep a little joy. I'm gonna show you. And you see Haile Manasseh put his hand on the emperor like this, boss, my God. And the big man, he says, thank you very much, thank you very much, Your Majesty. Yeah. Oh, I love that man. So this is the answer from the king himself.
In answer to that question, I would say there is
now just observe this man here, the host. What host name again, I suppose. But anyway. Yeah, but anyway, just observe the host. And you can see now he's, because he's like timekeeper too. You have to make sure we're done on time. Just watch how he's moving.
quite a difference in the political circumstances that prevailed at the time I made my speech at the League of Nations and the present time, the speech I made to the United Nations. Now, a question of...
No, I will say this here. No, this is just my own opinion. I could be right or I could be corrected. But you're trained to observe these things. there's a point where you see the emperor look over slightly. And where he looked over slightly, the host gave the same kind of turn with him. I'm assuming that someone behind the camera gave a sign. Because as soon as they looked over, that is when the host started to look down and start to look up and look at his clock. Watch it good. That's just my opinion.
Some political circumstances that prevailed at the time I made my speech at the League of Nations and the present time the speech I made to the United Nations.
Okay, see, look
now, a
question
of war or peace is the most urgent matter, and the posing of such a question itself is actually to pose whether mankind will survive or not. Because of the gravity of the disturbance of peace, at the present time, the United Nations has got to strengthen itself to achieve and protect the universal peace. My sincere hope on my part is the organization, my sincere belief that the organization so far.
Hold on. Now you could see, now you could feel it yourself. The speech going on. You can see him moving, and he's even looking at the emperor too. Because remember, you know, those who work in radio and television, time is time. Time is not a thing to play with, especially if you work in a real strict environment. Man, the program will lock off and have you in front of the mic. You have to know how to close it down properly. All right, so you could see he's ready. The deck, as soon as he gets a win, he coming in. I'm talking about the host of the program. Watch him good.
At the present time, the United Nations has got to strengthen itself to achieve and protect the universal peace. My sincere hope on my part is the organization, my sincere belief is that the organization so far has achieved many things for the purpose, for the cause of peace, and in the future I am hopeful and confident it will continue to expand its activities and strengthen itself so that international peace and security will not even be threatened.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty.
That's it. Now, as you could clearly see, you could clearly see now, you could hear the emperor coming the very same time. Now, what I'm saying is that this is the emperor, the king of kings, the lord of lords, you know, in all seriousness. And here we have, as I said, Haile Manasseh sealing up the words of the king. It's obvious that time is up. And no one could tell me the emperor don't know that time is up. And the same time the man comes to say, well, you know, thank you, Your Majesty, His Majesty coming again to continue the speech. Watch the reaction of both fellas, the brother Manasseh and the host of the show on both sides of the emperor.
Activities and strengthen itself so that international peace and security will not even be threatened once.
Thank you very much, Your
Now you see Manasseh is putting his hand to stop the king. The king even gesturing with his hand, like he's saying, well, listen, tell him also, thank you very much, Your Majesty. See, thank you very much, Your Majesty. And Manasseh is putting his hand to stop the emperor.
Majesty for being with us, and our thanks to our interpreter, Dr. Manasseh. Your Majesty.
Now, to me, let's watch that again. Watch it again. Watch it again.
Security will not even be threatened once.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty, for being with us, and our thanks to our interpreter, Dr. Manasseh.
Now, what I'm saying, I mean, you may not believe the emperor have what they call a sense of humor. Or this may just be some other level of judgment. I don't know, because, you know, as humorous as it may sound, when it comes to the diplomacy of the emperor, it is not a joke, you know, it's not a man you interrupt and so. Now, I mean, the emperor, well, I can't say, but of course, the emperor, even in his humility, have all understanding. The emperor know the program done. He not gonna, so he may spare them with his mercy, endure it forever. So I mean, one's gonna get spared, but still, at the same time, you know, remember the body of the emperor, the goodie of the emperor, the temple of the emperor, the presence of the emperor is so important. Do you know they have people Their job is to make sure they open the door for them. The emperor don't open doors and say the emperor don't hold the door, not unless maybe it's in his private, you know, because when the emperor in his private room is the emperor alone. But still, on mission, movement, diplomacy, the emperor don't walk. You think he walked through the door there by opening the door? No, somebody have to open the door for him. Whether it's a car door, whether it's a house door, a palace door, that's just the emperor. You may say what you want as oh, they feel it too much and feel it too much. You're not feeling nothing. When you have that level of weight on your shoulder, trust me. Or you supposed to go and wash your clothes and cook your food and make sure your bed make up? No, of course not. Not with what you got to do. I mean, nobody can make bed better than you now, cook better than you now, wash better than you. I understand. But because of the position you're in, others will still have to make sure they do that for you. They have certain ones, when the emperor comes to sit, the cushion have to be there ready, waiting for him, you know, for feet and for rest as well. The point I'm making is that, you know, if the emperor come before the door, ready to walk through the door, and the person that's supposed to open the door not there, it's judgment that, you know. It's judgment that, then we have to stand up and look around and maybe somebody else would have to do it. That's just the diplomacy. That's just how the royalty set. Now he coming, that's just how the thing go. Not Haile Selassie, Menelik II, you know, Rasmussen. That's how the royalty thing go. It's just natural because of the importance of royalty. You may look down on it because you've been observing some fake royals all the time, and some pretend royals and blue blood royals. You know what I mean? That, you know, if somebody have to come and wipe the nose for them and they're not worth nothing, they're just robbers and thieves. But them is the real royals, the God in blood, in flesh and bones amongst us, you know, come amongst us to carry the cross and to do the work of right and to uplift his people. So yeah, come as a royal God and king. You know, even the priest that come lonely still seated up as a God and king. It's just understanding. You know, so there's a certain level of respect you deal with diplomacy and you deal with royalty, especially the highest of the high. This is the highest of the high here. You know, this is the highest of the highest. So I'm just showing you, you don't interrupt the king. That's my point. You do not interrupt the king. You do not interrupt the king. You know, interrupt the king. You're mad. You don't interrupt the king. I don't know about the fella on his right, but I know Haile Manasseh understand that clearly. I am positive you do not interrupt the king, but still, you know, I mean, everything blessed, man. Haile Manasseh actually moving on a right too, you know, because he know the emperor humble. I mean, he know where we are. He understand. He may be saying maybe the emperor just overlook the time and he just helping the emperor to, you know, keep it in order. He doing a favor, understanding. But I know the emperor didn't look over no time. I'm positive. You could see it here. You could see the man fumbling too much and looking up too much. That's the emperor in the man. That's a, you know how the emperor is here, 70 something, eh? 70 something. So you could imagine the wise mind that he done evolve from even the 1930s. This is 1963. This is a mass, we call it, marksman, sniper, you know, archer, martial artist, yogi, Haile Selassie I'm talking about, brilliant in all sorts of science and understanding and theology, Quran and Bible, and wisdom unknown that all one speak of. You're gonna tell me he didn't realize that the program done? The emperor can feel the man aura next to him. He can read his mind. And I just bring in the emperor on a level just to show you, even on a regular level, that anybody that's sitting down there, even if you had a little 5-year-old child there, he could have realized that something changed. He'd see the man moving and he'll be watching him and what's wrong with him? And the program must be over. Yeah. The king know the program done. The king just mean that he feel to talk now. As I said, maybe it's just an expression of his humor.
It will continue
to expand its facilities
and strengthen itself so that
have to have reason. I don't think I'm just making sports with this. No, I'm not playing. this have to have a reason. If the reason is, well, the emperor was not aware that the program done, well, okay, well, that's it, and maybe I just making too much of it. Yeah, maybe that's it. The emperor just wasn't aware that the program was done, and High Priest Isaac just making little too much about it. Much ado about it.
To achieve and protect the universal peace. My sincere hope on my part is the organization
The clock has to be in front of it.
that the organization so far has achieved many things for the purpose, for the cause of peace. And in the future, I am hopeful and confident it will continue to expand its activities and strengthen itself so that international peace and security will not even be threatened once.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty, for being with us, and our thanks to our interpreter, Dr. Manasseh.
Dr. Haile Manasseh. Yeah. Yeah, man, give thanks, man. That's our Father there, man. The living God, you know, the joyous God, you know. That's how, I mean, come on. Your parents or your father or grandfather as serious, you know, because sometimes when you're young and you look at old people like they're serious, the most serious things, sometimes they have not, yeah, one of them vexed face. Oh, you afraid he boy, and uncle this and grandfather this, and hey, come here, boy, get the water for him. You know, so you kind of have a little fear, reverence. All of them people have a heap of sense of humor, enough joy inside of them. You know, you may just don't know how to prick it out and dig the right, you know, to get the right nerve. You know, even amongst Rastafari, yeah, even amongst I and I as Rastafari, the elders, some of them elders secretive, eh? Some of them elders very secretive, but if you can just get a chalice, right? If you can just get them to burn a chalice with you, it's like if you just unlock the vault. Yeah, more joy, man that they never see laugh, start to laugh and cry water out the eye. You understand? Even before I move on, I have something else to share here before we go on to the next, you know, one of the emperor's grandson, not Hermes, one of them. He had a book launch. I should have that pulled up, you know. But anyway, let me not go and look for that. That's just going to take time. But anyway, he had a book launch. Was it a book launch? I think, yeah, it was a book launch. He also highlights, you know, being the descendant of Ras Casa. Can't remember his name though. But so he was saying that he remember one time seeing Haile Selassie, you know, in a kind of human form. Imagine that. So what kind of form was he all the time? He must say, see the king in a human form. But anyway, and what he's trying to say, because the emperor, the same way you see the emperor move and how we know the emperor, that's the emperor. Very dignified and very serious, you know, straightforward and firm, and just the emperor, you could just imagine. So he said that he remembered once when he was young and he was moving with the emperor and Ras Imru. And Ras Imru is a very important individual. We have a whole lecture on Ras Imru. We will be presenting it sometime. Yeah, man, remember Ras Imru was there from the birth, you know. Ras Imru there with the king from birth. And Ras Imru was right there in his office when the Derg came to take him out. Ras Imru there from the start to the end. Ras Imru, okay? But anyway, yeah, man. That's what it's all about, unraveling the mystery. Who is Ras Imru? But we'll get there someday. Well, I don't get there, but we will speak about it someday. Let's put it that way. But anyway, yeah, so he said that they went to some country home or something of the sort where Ras Imru and the king would have spent time as youths. And he said when they came into the room, there was a pool table. And I think he's asked for Wasson's son. He's asked for Wasson's son. Because he's saying now that it was him, he was a child here, and Asper Wasson was with them. And the emperor asked Ras Imru if he think, I may be paraphrasing here, but he asked him in a sense if he think he can still play pool. And Ras Imru apparently told him yes. And according to Haile Selassie's grandson, he said the king took off his jacket and threw it, like he just fling it to Aswawas and say, yeah, let me beat you like how I used to beat you when we were young. Now he said he never see the emperor move nothing like that. You don't know the emperor dignified and everything is, he said the way he put it, like how we would say in Antigua, like he back off his jacket. Like he likes, like literally, yo, hold on, come, let me show you what I'm going. Yeah, he said he never saw the emperor, you know, move in that kind of way there. And, you know, so again, I'm just saying that to show you, you know, so it's not far off for me to believe the emperor purposely. I know it may look like a little thing, but it's a big subject. That's the emperor. You have to understand the God you're dealing with. And this is meet the press, you know. Yo, the emperor not easy. Yeah, so there's a joy, you know, and I'm very thankful. And there's a lot of other moments like that, you know. You know, a lot of moments like that with the emperor and things that happen around him. Remember when we were looking at the 21st of April visitation and how all the bicycle men them just lick down the line of police men. And even the policemen them see that the ones them coming down the line getting licking down, and they refuse to move. Bam, 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 bam. They you know what I mean? Bam, bam, bam. Some of them must have vexed with Rasta. I could imagine how they deal with them. But anyway, so now this is 1963. What I want to do now, I hope everything is well. Everyone is well there. I hope I'm not taking up too much of your time. I know I'm not. I'm just saying that. All right. 1963. This is the same visit that he did this Meet the Press interview.
Pour la défense de la moralité internationale.
The language is French. The degree is Doctor of Humane Letters. The place is the United States. A world leader and educator is being honored. His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia. He is no stranger to the atmosphere of learning found on the campus of Georgetown University. Here, students are in direct association with world-renowned scholars in the field of foreign affairs, the arts, and the humanities. Here, the inquiring mind finds nourishment. During the 8-day visit of Haile Selassie to the United States, he will participate in many ceremonies that demonstrate the respect of a friendly nation.
Trust them people, like the deceive and the people them in Rome. Trust none of them. The king they trust them neither. Know the thing real? Man leading the king down fast though. Know the thing real? Yeah, Rastafari.
A train with several private cars carries the emperor and his official party swiftly to Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. This will be the first meeting for President John F. Kennedy and Mrs. Kennedy with the man who played a leading role in the creation of African unity.
Gentlemen, I know I speak in behalf of all of my fellow Americans in welcoming His Imperial Majesty back to the United States. Since His Majesty visited the United States nearly a decade ago, we have seen one of the most extraordinary revolutions in history, and that has been the appearance on the world scene of 29 independent countries in the short space of less than 10 years, including over 150 million people. The conference recently held in His Majesty's capital served, I think, to bring together in a great cooperative movement the people of most of these countries. And the success of that conference was due in no small part to the leadership of our distinguished guest. His efforts to move his country forward and provide a better life for its people, and his efforts throughout the world, which stretch back over 30 or 40 years. For all of this, Your Majesty, we take the greatest pride in welcoming you here. You do us honor, and I can assure you that there is no guest that we will receive in this country that will give a greater sense of livelier pride and satisfaction to the American people than your presence here today. Your Majesty, you're most welcome.
Mr. President, Mrs. Kennedy, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply touched by the generous words of welcome which you have addressed to me, Mr. President, and by the warmth with which the American people have greeted me during the few short hours I have been in the United States. In the decade which has elapsed since my first voyage to America, the face of the globe has been vastly altered. Africa and Asia have been transformed into continents whose people are almost entirely removed from the subjugated status which was the lot of so many of them. But
one thing the king always talk, pardon me, one thing the king always talk about Africa and Asia, you know.
Are almost entirely removed from the subjugated status which was the lot of so many of them but a few short years ago. As free men, we Africans are now seeking the unity and the oneness which will enable us to put our freedom to the best use. The service of the peoples of our continent, the defense of right and justice, the protection of the peace.
All right, and you can pardon me because, as I said, you're not supposed to interrupt the king. But really, the speech of President Kennedy there, it was very, it was an edited version of the speech. In fact, really, the video called World Tour would have had the full speech, and we would have covered that, you know, several times. I don't want to go into that right now because, I mean, that alone takes a good chunk of time to really break down what Kennedy said. John F. Kennedy said, you know, even the little what you heard there, you know, how the emperor really, according to him, single-handedly freed up all these African states, 29 African states, something of the sort, and how much millions of people in the short space of 10 years, and the greatest revolution in our time. He referred to that as the greatest revolution in our time. So all them other revolutionaries they give us, no disrespect to none of them, you know, whether it be Che or Castro or whoever. Then, well, I know Kennedy is not a Castro fan really, but that ain't the point. He right. It's the greatest revolution. You see, just to the emperor humble and everything. He may not look so to the world, but that's the greatest revolution. And it clearly showed there's no other guest that will ever come here, no matter who they are, that will give us such pride and satisfaction. I know that. Maybe it's 2 weeks after they killed him. 2 weeks after they killed him. But I'm going to get to that now. I want to point out something with that. But before we go there, let me make a next point, and then we get back to the Kennedy point. Then we seal up the speech at the UN.
Television is another medium of communication through which millions of Americans see and hear the emperor. On a program devoted to current events, the sight and sound of free discussion is transmitted to the television audience.
Meet the Press, same program.
Gathered in the Emperor's hotel suite is an important resource of his country, young people increasing their knowledge in the universities of America.
So this is in the Emperor's Hotel Suite. You know, Ethiopians that are studying in America, different colleges.
One of the most satisfying moments of his tour, a face-to-face meeting with many of the Ethiopian students.
For those who don't know, that's the great Ras Emperor over there, man. Yes, I think we're doing a mystic scene here, man. Like one of the hey, listen, I was mentioning it earlier. If you don't have a copy of our online lecture documentary, Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry, you should definitely get it. Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry. You may say, what that has to do with what Racine was doing? Yeah, man, you should get a copy of Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry. And listen to me, eh? Listen to me good. I'm not insinuating nothing about the great Imran. You know, in fact, I'm just being a bit jovial within myself. You know, in fact, I think that's just an innocent move that the king doing there, to be honest, just an innocent move, you know. But if you understand, I just kind of speaking to those who should understand the esoterics by now. But anyway, Rastafari, Freemason, Rastafari, Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry. Visit our website. That's PriestIsaacInstitute.com. PriestIsaacInstitute.com. You know how to get there. The link is in the description below. PriestIsaacInstitute.com. Go to the area called Shop, and then you just scroll down. You see all the different DVD documentaries that we have. You have, as I say, Rastafari. You know, hey, hold on, man. Let me carry you and show you, man. You gotta hold on. I mean, you can just hold on and man. You think this is give thanks for the life giver and the keeper of life. You may not want to see, but I know somebody wants to see. And remember, Redemption Healing presents, man, the Natural Workshop virtual edition, talking about natural birthing workshop. Learn the art of birthing, and remember that midnight tonight is the so-called deadline, but nobody's gonna die is the lifeline. That's midnight tonight for you to get your $35 ticket. You know, anything from tonight is $50, which is a very, very, I mean, reasonable price for a birthing workshop. Remember, it's a workshop, not a lecture, it's a workshop. You know, and specifically at the end of the 2-hour workshop, you'll be getting your certification of completion. This is something else. Yeah. And of course, just the knowledge you'll be gaining. And remember, it's not for just brothers, sisters alone. The brothers have to make sure that they're in the house as well. Make sure you come and play a part of this, you know, very important vibration for sure. It's a family event, as the Empress was saying. It's a family event, and the Empress saying so too. It's a family event for sure. And bring the young ones, the little ones, let them come in. You know, obviously, one reservation can cover a whole house for sure. It will be one certification that goes out, or one certificate that goes out, but it can obviously cover a whole house for sure. So looking forward. All right. Where am I here again? Oh, yes. So you come to Shop. You must be laughing at that. You come to the area called Shop, and then you scroll down. You see all of our products here. Family, you should be patronizing the Priest Isaac Institute of Holistic Knowledge. This ain't no joke thing. No, let's be real. You patronize other things. You understand. All of our documentaries and our books, the vast majority of them, $20. Here it is. Look at here. Rastafari, Haile Selassie, and Islam. A wonderful online lecture presentation, which is different than even these YouTube episodes. This is like definitely a university type presentation where you get everything in detail. And of course, specifically, you could definitely order it right here on the website. You could also get the Divine Black lecture as well, another online presentation, the Divine Black, showing you Africa's presence in all civilization. The Night of the Black Tiger, that's the real, as I was saying in that other video, you know, that's the real documentary of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I don't think you can pull up another one you can compare to the Night of the Black Tiger. In fact, this is not an online lecture. It's a documentary. You want something that your youths will love and say, yeah, let's watch this again, Daddy. Trust me, the Night of the Black Tiger, because it's a documentary. It's not no lecture or nothing. It's a documentary, specifically music and light and sound and action, definitely. And of course, remember the trilogy as such, the Living Gods of the Kemet Part 1, 2, and 3. You get the full bundle there for $60. And don't forget the books now, and Ancient and Modern, especially those of you who are planning to come to the hike. Not the hike, what am I talking about? To the experience, the summer solstice experience. You should definitely purchase the book Anu from early and definitely go through it in the fullness. It's only $20. That's a bundle price. And remember, we have a special on the bundling right now. It's only $50 and you get all 3 of the books, all 3 of our pen book, meaning that we're speaking of the true biblical land of Israel, the book Anu, and of course, the heavens declare the glory. And remember, you could definitely get your customized chalice by the one honorable prophet, Daniel. Definitely, you could, just come right here and press the button and it's good. Eh? Just come right here to the website and press the button and it's good. So just giving you a good understanding of that. priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. That's the web. That's the email. And of course, priestisaacinstitute.com is the website. All right, good. Now, I was saying here, as it relates to the understanding of the emperor, and as I said, give thanks for Ras Imru. And of course, I was just making a little statement here about this. That's how we kind of segue into a well-needed commercial break. All right.
In gratitude, they present him with a silver service. He thanks them and replies that the gift he wants most is unity of purpose, their cooperation in quickening the pace of Ethiopian development. All are working toward this goal. They include Ephraim Isaac, who conducts the Harvard Graduate School Chorus.
So what's his name here?
Are working toward this goal. They include Ephraim Isaac, who conducts the Harvard.
Okay, Misak. I didn't get the first part too good. And Misak is conducting the Harvard
Graduate School Chorus.
The Harvard Graduate School Chorus. So Misak now, from Ethiopia, he is the conductor of the graduate chorus or choir, basically, at the Harvard University. We did a program the other day. I'm sure you got some of that. Hey, don't forget to check out the Tiger's Nest tonight. Eh? Yeah, man, the Tiger's Nest for sure. Radio Anu, make sure you're in tune to Radio Anu specifically. I'm talking about the international flavor, the universal spice. And remember, if you're not a subscriber to the Tiger's Nest, make sure that you do that in quick order. But we were speaking on the Tiger's Nest specifically as it relates to the situation with that same college here, Harvard. And it says that Harvard University put down like $100 million for reparations because of some atrocities that they had their hand in. And they were speaking about some dead bones, not dead bones, but bones found on the campus, or some story they were talking about of slaves, XYZ. All right, but anyway, what I'm saying as a student of history, family, as said here, this is Harvard University. As a student of history, this is 1963. As a student of history, you must understand
the situation as it relates to black people, any kind of black people in the United States of America. 1963. Martin Luther King was not assassinated as yet. Malcolm X was not assassinated as yet. It is the assassination of Kennedy, according to some reports, that put Malcolm X in a bad light with Elijah Muhammad, because he spoke of the assassination when he was asked not to say anything, and that started the domino effect, and other things came in, and he left the nation, and then we know how the rest of the story went. So he was still around here. There was still this strong fight for equal rights and justice, and there was this strong fight for civil rights. The March on Washington, asking for acceptance. What was Martin Luther King preaching? Although it is said that he rejected it at the latter end. Inclusion. To bring an end to segregation. So now integrate everything. Integrate the restaurant. Remember, they went to white restaurants and sat down, and got blows and kicked, and some of them lose their teeth, you lose their eyes for this. Police will come in and help them beat them up. And they were trained to take blows. They were trained not to fight back. Everybody can't be like that. Everybody could not be like that. If that is how you are, something wrong with your people, that everybody can think like that. No, man, if some of you think like that, well, to each his own. But for sure, they gotta have people that knock down for that. Obviously, you mad. Little children were sent to schools in Arkansas by themselves. Yeah, putting their lives on the line so other black people could go to school. Now you see, if you notice, right, we like to show you how important Haile Selassie is in the world. See, that is why when we did the video highlighting the so-called coronation of the Shah of Iran, and we took time. I think that one is Who is the King of Glory? You never watched that? Come on, I have to see them videos here, man. They're right on the YouTube. Who is the King of Glory? Go and watch it. Yeah, man. Pause this, go and watch it, and come back. I just kind of keep watching this. But what I'm saying is that Who is the King of Glory shows you, yeah, anytime the king gathered with the rest of the world heads of state, he's always in the highest seat. It's just this, anytime, no matter who he with, no matter which set of leaders, the king is always in the highest seat. No matter who they are, even if the British monarchy is represented, as in the case of the Shah, so-called, whatever it was, coronation, inauguration, and Shah and Shala, something like that, and Shan-Ah and Shan-Shah, I can't remember, but he's supposed to be the king of kings in the Persian tongue. The Shah and Shah, something like that, yeah, in the Persian tongue, king of kings. Well, if you want to be king of kings, I mean, you see, this is where now language is important, because Haile Selassie, for sure, in Shah and Shah. And it might sound harsh, but if we go to get down to the nitty-gritty, the Haile Selassie, if we get down to the nitty-gritty, and don't lose yourself now,
I know some of you jump out the window here. If we get down to the nitty-gritty, Haile Selassie is not no king of kings neither. I mean, he is the man, but Haile Selassie is not king of kings. Haile Selassie is Negusa Nagas. There are a time you can't call Haile Selassie no king of kings. You have to say Negusa Nagas. That's what he is. What king mean? Tell me what the word king mean. Right, so don't be too quick to run. You know what queen mean? They say queen mean the harlot of the king. So that sounds like the king mean pimp. I just show you. So although we know, he is the king of kings, we all know that. I mean, I'm not gonna stop saying that like anytime now. But I'm just showing you. If you want it, you have to be psychologically straight in your mind sometime. So you can test yourself and say, hey, listen, Haile Selassie ain't no king of kings. Haile Selassie is Negus and Negas. You're not wrong, you're correct. But it's just in another realms. You have to know which realms to exist into. That's why you see some people bring some realms to the wrong realms and just lick up the whole thing and don't know how to act and when to act there. But anyway, the point now is that this is 1963. You don't see nothing strange here. In 1963, when people fighting to get black people into school, much less Harvard University, just meditate on that. 1963, okay, for example, let's look at the crowd here. Look at everybody here. You see any Negro in the crowd? Of course not. All Caucasians and somebody that have a Japanese outlook here. But the choir master, the person leading this chorus here, is what America referred to at this time as a Negro. Remember, this is why I am explaining to you the levels that Haile Selassie I himself is placed in. Not really placed in, because he done there. I mean, these world heads of state, they know. You can say what you want about him as I said, Mason and all of that. That's what I'm telling you. Get the video, get the online lecture, sit in with it properly, learn exactly what it is, how you can connect the two, straight up. We even have a video on YouTube called Is Haile Selassie a Mason? Watch that. But that's honestly, that's just that's a lower level, honestly, on that to the online lecture that we did, because that came like 3 years after. So obviously we would have stepped up that one, but still watch that. It's on YouTube. It's Haile Selassie a Mason. Watch it. And you will see the realms that we're coming with. Because when he went to the Knights of the Garter ceremony, the head of the Garter had to come out of the whole ceremony and give the emperor his space. That is something else, which is Prince Charles, the head of the Garter as the Prince of Wales. That is something else. That is something else. That is something else. None of the Garter, including Prince Charles, could put his hat on his head before the emperor put his hat on his head. We all watched it. I mean, everybody see that with their eyes. As soon as the emperor do this, you just see everybody start to put hats on their head. Remember, they all came out before the emperor after the ceremony, holding their hat in their hand and the wind blowing. And the emperor came down, just cool. And he reached the halfway down, the emperor just put his hat on. Then they see everybody start to fix up. Prince Charles put on his hat when he came into public. Remember, that this is not by chance. These people don't just do it any old how. It's protocol. It is protocol. Not even Prince Philip and so could have put on his hat. Queen Elizabeth and the Queen's mother, their hat don't come off their head because them is females. So they had on the head. Same hat, same type of hat with the feather. So everything is deep understanding. So the point is, Haile Selassie, we just have to accept it.
greater than Solomon is here. And this is well known, well understood, well accepted. All of the heads of state in the White House. Oh, judgment.